What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 11 reunion part 3. Now, this is the episode they could have kept. Remember, we were talking, there are 4 parts. Are they going to be able to keep that energy for 4 parts? And the answer is no. Because, honestly, they could have kept this episode. So, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, the first 5 minutes was the last 5 minutes of part 2. It was Kathy and Kyle crying and talking about their mama and all that. Okay, it was touching last week. This week it was just redundant. Okay, we did find out. They talked about Garcelle when she forgot her sister's name, when she was talking about all her family members, and she said, right now her and her sister are sort of estranged, and so maybe it was a more of a Freudian slip. She said that they just, they had a disagreement about something. They just let it fester, and it just kind of, excuse me, y'all, it just kind of festered or whatever. Kyle and Kathy talked about the reconciliation. Basically, they said that the kids did it. Their kids are really close, and they got tired of basically being in the middle, having to split holidays and having to, have to plan out, well, I'm going to go here first and I'm going to go here first. And so she said that's sort of what did it. Andy asked her, well, do you regret making an American Woman? And Kyle said, no, because I didn't do anything wrong. She said there was nothing bad about the show. It was a love letter to my mom, and I just wish her and Kim had watched the show before they got mad about it. But honestly, like we said last week, and like we said on the panel, it's deeper than that show. That show was one of the elements, but it really was deeper than that. But I also think part of the problem with the show wasn't that she did the show. It sounds like she did the show without consulting them. And I think that was their biggest issue. Had they been included on the front end, and in the development stages, not so much to get an EP credit or to make money, but just to have the conversation so that they would understand the process from the beginning, rather than them just look up and you'd have made a TV show. And again, Kyle is sort of walking back the autobiographical part of it now because of the reaction from Kathy and Kim. But when she was first marketing this, she really was marketing this like it was their story with a little bit of Hollywood spin on it. And that's the part that they had a problem with. But anyway, so that's kind of what that was. Again, like I said, they talked about, Kathy living in the Waldorf Astoria. Now, we did find out that the Hiltons do not own, well, her husband. He sold off and again, I wasn't clear on whether, I'm sorry, y'all, the whole Hilton family no longer has anything to do with the Hiltons, or just her husband sold off his piece of it. But neither here nor there. And again, that doesn't mean that they aren't shareholders or whatever. They're just no longer the owners of the Hilton Hotel. I thought that was interesting. And she said that was about 7 or 8 years ago. Then they did this whole thing. Oh, then they had Crystal. They talked about the Crystal and Sutton thing. And, I understood where Crystal was coming from. During the season, I was kind of hard on Crystal about that whole Sutton bringing her the coat thing. But she said, you don't get to dictate my feelings, and I felt violated, and they kept wanting me to get away from that word and not use that word, but that is how I felt. And Andy said, well, do you think it might be connected to your bulimia and your body issues, the fact that she walked in on you naked? Do you think that was part of it? And she said probably. She did talk about the bulimia and the fact that she brought that up so that maybe they would understand a little bit more, the women would understand a little bit more about her reaction and what happened. I'm so sorry, y'all. I've not been yawning. As soon as I turn the camera on, I'm yawning. Maybe it was that damn reunion. But, and Sutton did apologize for the comment about color, that they had at the beginning. She did apologize about that. They talked about the leather pants. Sutton said, listen, they weren't my favorite, but it's okay because I wear stuff that people don't like. I don't care. And Crystal was like, it's okay if she didn't like my pants. Like, it's not that serious. It's okay. She did talk about how hard this has been social media wise. And I remember her cutting off the comments on her social media. And I remember that being something that we talked about, like, why is she cutting off the comments? But she said that she is getting hundreds of threats every day. Racially motivated. People saying some really harsh things to her racially. And listen, Crystal has sort of blended into the wallpaper for me the last half of the season. And she got on my nerves with the whole Sutton thing. She did. But I do not condone the racial attacks. I just think it's unwarranted. And I've been kind of called to the carpet sometimes of some of the things I say about people. Oh, you don't have to be so mean, and you didn't have to say that. And that's true. Sometimes we say things. I know I do it as a reviewer. I say things, tongue in cheek, looking for a laugh, trying to be funny. But I try to pride myself on not being vicious, and you can express your dislike for somebody without going there, without making it racial, without being threatening, without being, just nasty, just unnecessarily nasty, So I do feel for Crystal. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, it was that reunion. But I definitely feel sorry for her for having to go through that and for having to experience that. I know it could not have been happy for her. She said that she did enjoy sharing her culture. She's proud of her culture. And it's just been really, really hard. Back to Kathy and Kyle for a second. They talked about Kathy's quirkiness and how funny she is, and Kyle was like, "I know her. This is who she is. So I know who she is." And Andy said it helped me understand Kim a little bit better after meeting Kathy, and so just her quirkiness and some saying some of the craziest things or whatever. Now in that package, see, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You know how you could have made this reunion a little bit more interesting, Andy? In Crystal's package, they showed when she did that yoga in the water. Why you ain't turn to Lisa Rinna and say, Rinna, why you leave Crystal hanging, knowing she had body issues, knowing that she shared about not wearing a bathing suit, especially on national TV. You said you would wear a bathing suit. Why you show up down to the water yoga in some pants and a tank top? See, that's where you could have asked that question. Put Rinna on the hot seat a little bit. Now, she probably would have just lied and made up some bullshit. But at the end of the day, at least make her say it. At least put her on record as explaining why she left that girl hanging like that. Because I think that was kind of messed up. Anyway, but they ain't ask her. We just went right on past that. Then we got on to Erika. Because again, the rest of that stuff, child, it won't no whole lot there. Oh, they did a whole thing on glam. They did a whole thing on the glam. They went through all the different glam of the season, child. I don't care. All right, now we back on Erika. Erika talked about the thing that hurt her the most was the PK thing when they had the dinner with Dorit and Kyle and Mauricio. First of all, Dorit and Kyle, I think they damn near broke their leg trying to backpedal and pussy pop up out that situation. We didn't mean it like that. Oh, Erika, I know you know that we would never. Oh, Erika, it wasn't what it looked like. Oh, Erika, Mauricio and PK, they just feel the way they feel. They just have their own feelings. You know how we feel about you. I was like, girl, listen, this is where people irritate me. Sometimes you just got to eat it. Sometimes you just gotta eat it. You knew that they was gonna play that scene. You knew Erika was pissed off about it. The way y'all should have showed up was, listen, it is clear in that footage that our husbands are drunk and high. Listen, yes, it was a night. You know how these things go. We were there for hours. We had been drinking. We were trying to tell them the story about about the car accident. They made a couple of jokes. We had a little bit too much to drink. Maybe we giggled too much at your expense, and we're sorry. I would rather y'all have done that than what y'all did with the whole, oh no, Erika, we would never. I was just trying to tell the story. You've got to understand, we've got new information. We didn't know. Girl, if I'm Erika in that moment, I'm giving both of y'all the middle finger. Because, come on, all y'all had to do was eat it. Just eat it. Y'all laughed. Y'all had a good time. Y'all giggled. Y'all made jokes. It it was clear in that clip that all y'all was drunk, or at least feeling pretty good. Mauricio was gone. PK gone. And I'm not saying that that makes an excuse, but we all know that things are a little, they're a little funnier. Things come out, and then y'all are filming. Y'all know these scenes. They've told us a million times. If we see a 20-minute scene, they were there for 5 hours, right? So y'all have been there all day drinking stuff. Listen, y'all should have ate that, but that pissed me off. Erika says she is keeping score. She knows who was there for her and who was not. And when it's all over said and done, she gonna remember. Andy was like, well, who, you know, what's the scorecard looking like? Erika said, well, listen, I'm keeping that to myself. She said, but it's pretty obvious. He kind of cut her off because that's when Kyle cut her off to kiss her ass. But she was like, it's pretty obvious. And I think it is too. Like, for the exception of Rinna. Now, I mean, some people might have more on their scorecard than others, but I feel like the only person in this situation that's clear is Kathy Hilton and Rinna. Then they were, so then Garcelle asked a really, really good question, which Erika still doesn't get it. Garcelle said, why couldn't you understand that we would be concerned about being lumped in to this situation? And Erika's thing is, because y'all know it's bullshit, and y'all know that you didn't have anything to do with it. So why would you be worried about being lumped in an article, a very one-sided article? Because the same reason why you claim you innocent, but you've been lumped in. Isn't that the exact same thing, Erika? You are yelling from the rooftops that you ain't had nothing to do with this, and that you will be vindicated, but you still lumped in. You still spending a lot of money on attorneys. You're still being raked over the coals in the press every chance they get. So let's assume for a minute Erika is innocent of everything. She ain't do nothing. She ain't know nothing. She wasn't part of nothing. It is not changing the fact that you are dealing with it on a daily basis and spending a lot of money to do it. So why can't you understand that these women are rightfully worried that they're going to be pulled into the bullshit? They could be subpoenaed into court because maybe there's a conversation that somebody thinks that they had. Sutton offered you money on national television. Maybe she'll be subpoenaed to find out, well, did Erika ever take you up on that loan? How much did you give Erika? When did you give the money to Erika? Like, they have a legitimate concern. Now, do I think any of them need to be worried about going to jail? No. Well, I ain't gonna say none of them. I mean, we do have some rumors about people investing in people's companies, but I ain't gonna go there. But at the end of the day, Erika, that's a very naive statement to say, well, you knew you weren't involved, so why you worried about it? Girl. There are people sitting in jail right now that wasn't involved, but they there. Anyway. Then they talked about the victims, and because Kathy Hilton, I don't know what kind of point she was trying to make. But basically, she was like, well, this isn't the first time that somebody on the show has been in legal trouble. And like what Andy said was, yeah, but the other people, it was like tax evasion. There's no victim that you can look at. And here, there are victims. There are victims involved. And she says, well, well, I feel horrible about it. I've said that multiple times. Everybody was like, no, you haven't, including Andy. Everybody was like, Erika, no, you haven't. Erika, no, you haven't. You have not said you feel bad for the victims. So then she had to backpedal and pussy pop off of that and say, well, y'all understand that there's certain things that I just can't say. I have been upfront and I've answered everything, even to the detriment that some of these things might get me in trouble and might come back to bite me in the butt. But I've been honest and I've been open. So then it was the whole social media thing. And they were trying to explain to her that her posts are tone deaf. And again, she's defensive. Well, I have to get money. I get paid for that. And, you know, Andy was like, yes, but you have to admit that your posts, because your posts are the Erika Jayne persona, which, you know, is the personification of, you know, wealth and opulence, which is what people are kind of condemning you for. And she was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I have to pay the bills. And he was like, but it's just tone deaf. It just comes off very tone deaf. And she said, well, that's what my social media has always been. But again, it's tone deaf. You know, and again, Erika's not stupid. I don't think for a minute that Erika doesn't understand that this is going to cause her more problems. But she just won't let go of the, I can do what I want to do and nobody's going to tell me what to do. Nobody's going to control my social media. Nobody's going to control me. Instead of saying, this is what I probably need to do right now is get off social media. Yes, I know I need to post certain things to get paid, but the captions you don't need to put up there. You know what I mean? You don't need to put those captions up there that are basically telling the lawyers to kiss your ass. Like, you don't have to do that. Then she sort of contradicted herself. Did y'all catch it? Because I did. So first they asked her, well, Erika, how many of you all think that Erika knew? And everybody was like, well, we don't think Erika knew. You know? And Garcelle said something that I thought was pretty accurate. Garcelle said, I don't think Erika knew, but I also feel like at a certain point, you know, because she was living this wonderful life, she may have missed some warning signs, but I don't think she knew. And I think that's a valid statement. Erika said, all of the financials are done at Girardi Law Firm. I don't work there. I don't know anything about what goes on with the financials, right? But then later on, Andy brought up, when did you know that something was wrong? And she was like, well, when I got sued. But I thought you didn't know nothing. I thought all the financials were handled at the law firm and you didn't know nothing. Now it's when you got sued, then you knew there were some problems. But then Andy asked her, well, did you know that there were that y'all were in financial problems? Did you know anything about any financial problems? And she was like, no, I didn't know anything, which is bullshit. Because if I knew all the way over here on the East Coast and I don't even have no money, you damn sure knew on the West Coast in them circles. Your ass knew. But on one minute it was, I don't know anything. It happens at the law firm. I'm not privy to it. The next minute it's, well, yeah, I knew the minute I got sued. Then it's, well, I didn't know anything about any money problems. Girl, well, which one is it? Because you didn't contradicted yourself. Like, come on now. But like I said, ultimately, they could have kept this episode because, again, they ain't really give me nothing. They ain't really give me nothing. They could have kept this episode. But y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Drop it in the comments. Peace.